All right, you can hear me clearly, right?
I didn't hear you. What you say, Shirley?
You can hear me clearly, correct, right?
Yes, clearly.
Because somebody keeps coming like choppy, so that's why I'm asking.
No, you're good.
All right, going back to Zoom. Got it. So we are live stream. I'm gonna share my screen. Good morning, everyone. The chat. So good morning. We're going to give a few more minutes. We're going to give a few minutes. We're going to start at 10:05 because people are still strolling in. If you would like to go to get some water, coffee, this will be the time, please. In the meanwhile, also, those who are present, you could start filling out the attendance form. And I'm going to remind everyone to please put their districts in front of their names. I'm seeing names of people that like this make Denise Price a co-host. Okay. So we're just giving a few minutes for people to come in. I'm going to remind everyone to put their districts in front, or if you're or DOE.
You rented these? Oh, these are ours.
Someone might, I think that's Lydia. You want to mute it? Somebody needs to mute themselves. Okay, thank you, Ms. Niles. We don't see DOE yet either. And how's your summer, everyone? Welcome, Michelle. Hi, Aisha.
Hello, my summer is good. I'm driving to DC in this meeting, taking the kids to college, so forgive me.
No worries, be safe. Just do it safely.
Yeah, y'all are connected through the car. So.
Bluetooth, hands-free, great. Yeah, the summer is going very quickly. I'm muting you, Jimmy. I can't.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm putting you back on mute because you got a lot of background noise. All right, so welcome back. We're going to start, and as people trickle in, I hope everyone having a good prosper. This is our August meeting. It's August 10th. We still have the same board members. And we're gonna hope everyone who celebrated Father's Day had a great Father's Day. We hope you had a great 4th of July. We're gonna leave our meeting rules and procedures on there for a little bit. Everyone should be familiar with it. We're gonna do our summarization of our meeting etiquettes. We're gonna ask for everyone to be present, meaning to be here, to be on topic. We want everyone to wait to be recognized before speaking. So that means raising your hands or putting it in the chat. Be respectful and courteous and professional at all times. And be mindful of fellow council members, 2 minutes or less. All right, and Randy's putting in the chat the attendance form and reminding everyone to put their districts in front of their names. So at this time, we're going to do roll call. So District 3. I know you're here, Jimmy.
Yeah.
District 5. Aisha's here. District 8. I don't see District 8. So I see you here, Priscilla, but we have not received your certification form, so you don't count towards quorum. I don't know how come you got the link to, but so you know. Veronica Clark, District 17. District 21.
Good morning, present.
Thank you. District 22.
That's me, I'm here.
Thank you. District 25. I don't think that her email address was incorrect. District 30. And high schools. And Queens High Schools is present. So we're going to move on. So our agenda today, we're going to have SEO scholars. Ms. Bryce is she's the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Admissions. We're going to have FACE updates. And then we're going to have Senator Mayer, New York State Senator Mayer, who's the chair of the Education Committee. And then we'll have Chancellor Banks. So the minutes were sent out, but we're going to skip that. We don't have quorum. We'll come back if we have quorum later. So we have a couple of announcements regarding our committees, the pandemic EBT, vacancies for the citywide community education councils, filling the student seat on the citywide community education councils, collaboration between partnerships between presidents' councils and the education councils, Q Teen Collective, and the calendar for this school year. So we're going to start with our committees. So the Capacity Building Committee is still meeting the first Tuesdays of every month at 11:30. So the next meeting is September 5th. The Communications Committee is the first Tuesday of the month as well. That is at 10 a.m., September 5th. High School Committee is the first Friday of the month at 2 p.m. The first meeting is September 8th. The Legislative Committee, first meeting is September 19th, and the next in October is on the 17th at 1 p.m. The Multilingual Language Learners, their first meeting for the school year is September 19th at 3:30. We don't have dates for the special education. Title I, September 5th at 11 a.m. And it's going to be the first Tuesdays of the month as well. Wellness Committee is the second Wednesdays of the month at 10:30, and their first meeting is September 13th. And the alumni quarterly meetings, the first meeting is September 19th at 10:30 a.m. So another wave of pandemic EBT disbursement is $120 per child and off to all those who attend New York City public schools. This is for the free meals for the summer. The benefits should be issued by December 31st. So education councils and president's councils should be collaborating minimally at having quarterly meetings. These quarterly meetings are not on the education council platform or president's council platform, meaning that is not on their monthly calendar. It's decided date and topic, that mutual decided date and topic for these collaborations, these quarterly meetings. Also, President's Council, part of their role is also should be consulted on filling vacancies, and President's Council has the right to participate in the process of filling vacancies on the community and citywide education councils. Again, straight out of 866T Article 1, Section 3, I just want to concentrate again. We'll collaborate to establish a mutually agreeable meeting date and time and agenda topics. And of course, those topics will be what is affecting the district or if it's a citywide, the city. Candidate forums and consultation on filling vacancies. And there's a lot of vacancies on the citywide community education councils at this time. President's Council have the responsibilities, besides holding the candidate forum, they have the right to help participate in filling those vacancies on the community and citywide education councils as specified in the regulations governing the respective councils. Before I move on, anybody has any questions regarding, or Randy, you want to add anything to that?
No, I'm good.
All right, so this email, Q10 Collective, applications is due September 24th. I think this is something that will benefit our youth. It's a free year-long after-school program for high school students who are passionate about visual culture and interested in exploring careers in the fine arts. So they are accepting applications. If you want further details, you can go to CPAC website. It's posted on there about this program, but I think it's good for those families whose students are into performing arts, the fine arts, and to have a space, especially if they don't have in their high school, there's an after-school program that they can go to perfect their skills and to enjoy and have to develop their artistic voices. The New York City Public School, we in 2023-24 calendar is out, it's on the website. And I encourage, if you have your school community speaks more than one language, and I think it's almost all of them do, please download or direct parents, families to the website to have the calendar in the language that they are comfortable in. And it's also on the CPAC website too. We took it and the links to the calendar. And you should share it with your membership so they could also easily have it available. So we have our working groups here right now. The A655 working group has been working. They are meeting every Tuesday all the way to October. equity group is going to be on the way shortly. I don't know. I don't think the digital and the legislative task force was doing anything. The CEP template is on pause. They probably will start back in September or October. We had the CEC elections, so right now that is tabled, the working group. The Special Education Task Force have finished their preliminary working groups in subcategories. So shortly, soon, what was resulted will be shared with everybody. But there are things on the website regarding what the Special Education Task Force has been doing. And they have completed their that work group. Small class size task force is still, they are doing they have been meeting regularly throughout the summer towards the end of the school year. And their goal is to complete their task by October or the end of October.
Shirley, sorry, can I just say something? Because I'm on that task force, small class size task force. We met yesterday. Our goal is actually in September.
I'll let you talk, but so is Randy. Okay. I was going to ask her. I had asked Randy to say a little bit, because I know y'all can't give too much details, but go ahead, Aisha. Randy can chime in after.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't gonna say much. Just we met yesterday. At the end, our goal is to have public sessions to get feedback from people, so that it's not like we're working in a bubble. So we are, because I am co-chair of one of the subcommittees, the enrollment and planning subcommittee. So we are actively working and meeting, and so the subcommittees meet, then we report back to the bigger committee and like I said, we are going to have sessions. We're trying to plan that part out. How many sessions, like where, virtual, hybrid, etc., to get feedback from the community. So that's all I was going to say about it.
Thank you so much. Randy, you want to add anything to that?
She basically said exactly what I would have said. So thank you, Aisha.
You're welcome. Oh, and then the CCEC election, whatever working group is going to start back up. We just haven't figured out what day yet to evaluate how the election went, what can go better, etc., etc. So it might be like October, since I'm the chair of that one. I'll let y'all know as the executive board as soon as Faith and I figure that part out.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else who's on a working group who's present want to add anything to what was said in our, because these are not working groups, that's CPACs. This is CPACs that there are members on these working groups, so to keep that in mind. We have our committees. These are working groups from the New York City Public Schools. Okay, thank you. So I see you, Dr. Christina Melendez, who's the Executive Director of FACE. Would you like to go now, or can I let the CEO scholars go first?
I will always defer to students.
Thank you so much. Good morning, and thank you for being here. So
anytime, it's nice to be here.
So I'm going to, so we can stay on schedule, and you usually, and we're glad of your department's collaboration. So we're going to have Ms. Bryce to talk about CEO scholars and what it's about and why we should be interested in paying attention to what they offer. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Ms. Bryce, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And then, does everyone see my screen? Just want to make sure everyone sees it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and share my sound. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for having us. Me and my colleague, we're just grateful for the opportunity to speak to you all about just this amazing program that I know will benefit not only your students, but also your families. I do want to implore that you all take down any questions or notes that you may have, as we will have a Q&A portion towards the end of the presentation, if time permits. Now, before I get into exactly what our program is about, just a few introductions are in order. I was already introduced, so I thank you again for that. My name is Denapoli Bryce, and I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Admissions for SEO Scholars. And I am joined here with my colleague, Denisha Niles, who is not only a recruitment manager for our team, but she's also an alumni of the program. So you'll hear from her later on in the presentation. And we're also going to circle back to the slide for anyone who would like to contact us directly concerning the program. So what exactly is SEO Scholars? SEO Scholars is a free 8-year program that transforms public high school students into college graduates with 100% college acceptance rates, right? So we stay with our students from 9th grade up until they walk across that stage for college graduation. And to be honest with you, we're even with them after that, because our goal is not only to ensure that they receive a college degree, but also that they are able to integrate into the workforce as well, right? So just some numbers in this next slide, right? As stated in the previous slide, 100% of our students receive acceptance to 4-year colleges. So the class of 2023, the class that just graduated, they received a total of 1,620 college acceptances. 90% of our students graduate from college. 75% of our students who attend universities attend competitive colleges, and 85% of our students are considered first gen, which means that they are the first in their families to obtain or will obtain a college degree. We also create a very robust scholarship profile for our students once they reach junior year of high school. And the reason why we do that is because our goal is to ensure that our students leave college with 20% or less in debt. And so for the class of 2023 alone, they were awarded $4.16 million in grants and scholarships for just their first year of college. Now, one may be thinking, well, why do we do this? And the answer is simple, right? It's because of our mission, right? Our mission is to create a more equitable society by closing the academic and career opportunity gaps for motivated young people from underserved and or historically excluded communities. And I really want to emphasize that motivated word, right? Our students are bright, right? I was a bright kid, but I was lazy. So we know that bright isn't enough. Ultimately, it's motivation and commitment that really makes a scholar an SEO scholar. And so that's what kind of sets our kids apart. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of how exactly our program works, I'm going to play a short video to provide some insight. So give me 1 second, because I do have to do some finagling.
An SEO scholar is committed, strong.
An SEO scholar is someone who does not give up when things get tough.
An SEO scholar is someone who wants to reach their fullest potential.
To me, SEO is a community in which we all have a goal to achieve, which is to get to college and to succeed in our future.
A lot of our scholars don't often feel like their needs are being met. And I think that when they're with like-minded peers at SEO, they're able to just engage with the content in a deeper and different way.
I've always felt very welcomed here. I think if I didn't have this community that I would feel out of place in my own school environment and in general.
When I was younger, I just thought that if I worked harder in school, I would just get wherever I want to be, and that's not always the case.
My SEO peers, they've been through hardships, but they're really good in school and their work ethic is, really high. So I found my place in SEO.
So today is the first Saturday of the spring semester. Let's go!
SEO scholars come in 3 out of 4 Saturdays a month, 1 day after school, and for 5 weeks in the summer.
We're still looking at sources for bias and credibility.
Each SEO scholar gets 720 hours of additional schooling, which amounts to 2.5 years of English and 1.5 years of math.
To some kids, it's just an extra set of school, it's just more homework to do, but it's actually a better investment on your life.
My high school is not giving me all the resources I need to go to college because I have a dream school. I have a school I'm striving for.
SEO is filling in that resource gap for those students so that these incredible students can actually have the support that they need to get into the colleges of their dreams and go on to meaningful careers.
We probably would have had to really struggle getting him into a college and, being able to afford a college.
Sorry. It means a lot to us. It really does.
I'd want this not just for myself, but for my family and for my community. I just want to be great so they too can be great.
We're so proud of you either way.
You got it!
Come on, bro. I think that the messaging that we give them way in advance, we let them know that this is going to be for 8 years. We're not going to give up on you.
Coming from underprivileged high school backgrounds, that first transition when you come to college is really hard, but SEO is there still to support you.
My parents, I think the last grade they had was 7th grade, so they didn't really know anything about college. So SEO was always there to remind me, this is what you need to do. We're here to give you the support that your parents can't give you.
I aspire to be a neurosurgeon in the future. And so most of my talks with my program manager have been helping me find internships in the sciences, my med school process, and my classes that I want to take.
As we continue to talk, we'll monitor that class.
For a lot of people from where I'm from, college and long-term careers aren't a reality to us.
SEO shows that you need to defy those standards that people put on you and that it's your responsibility to take charge of your learning and your education and shoot for the stars.
For inner city kids, these resources are hard to find. Now looking back, it's wow, I'm so thankful because without this program, I don't know where I would be.
Being in SEO and sitting in the classes and talking to the people in my community and being surrounded by instructors who really believe in me showed me that there's something about me that I never saw in myself.
When I first came to SEO, I was shy. I was scared of everything, but coming out, I feel like the most confident version of myself, and I'm ready to tackle the world and make some change.
SEO takes people like me who didn't necessarily believe in themselves at first. But after being exposed to this community of people that actually do care about how you move through this life, you feel like you're able to do things that you never thought you could do before.
Every time I see this video, I can't help but get just a little bit emotional, especially when I see the acceptances, because I know how hard our kids work. So just wanted to share that with you all. But I do a quick check-in. Do you still see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to my colleague, Denisha, who's going to cover exactly what our program provides.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denapoli, and good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Great. So my name is Denise Niles, as Annapolis stated before, and I'm going to go into how does SEO Scholars provide support to your students, right? And we do that with 3 ways. We do it academically, and with our academic portion, we cover the foundations of learning, right? We have critical reading, critical writing, we cover grammar, vocabulary, and math. And we have those particular courses in our program because it ensures that our scholars are well versed in the fundamentals of learning. And not only does our curriculum help boost our scholars' grades in school, but it also aids in their understanding of the SAT exam, and it covers the foundations of the content on what that exam entails. And so another way that we provide support to our scholars is through social and community enrichment. We have a lot of enrichment opportunities available to our scholars through college tours, mentoring, and our enrichment programs. So we start our college tours pretty early in our program to ensure that our scholars' heads are turning about what they're interested in, where they would like to go to school, so that by the time they get to 12th grade, they have a clear path of where they'll be applying and what that process looks like. And we also have mentoring. So of the 1,200 scholars that we currently serve in our program, we ensure that we have 1,200 mentors. We make sure that each of our scholar has a mentor who not only has a personality similar to them, but also a professional interest that they're also interested in, so they can get the feel of what they would want to do as a career when they leave college, because the end goal is after that 8 years, where do you want to go? What career would you like to have? And we also have enrichment offerings for our scholars. And those enrichment offerings can take place throughout, they can do an academic enrichment program, which is, I would like to go to Brown for a summer, or I would like to go to Duke or Johns Hopkins for that summer and take college courses, get that college credit. We also have study abroad enrichment opportunities for our scholars, where our scholars can say, I would like to go to Italy to be culturally immersed in their culture and learn the language. I'd like to go to Tokyo and create my own anime or whatever and what have you. And we have these opportunities for our scholars because we understand that strong academics isn't the only thing that creates a well-rounded individual. We want to make sure that our scholars have those worldly opportunities and engage with other individuals outside of their New York City community, just so that they can also get that experience and feel of what is it that I would like to do as I get older. And the last thing we do to ensure that we're providing holistic support to our scholars is make sure that they're able to think critically and be their biggest advocates. Self-advocacy is very important, and we ensure that we teach our scholars how to be advocates for themselves. And so as we go on, we can talk about who do we serve in New York City. So we, like I said, we have 1,200 scholars in our program. And of those 1,200 scholars, they come from every single borough in the city. So we have 36 of those scholars who are from the Bronx. We have 23 of our scholars who are from Manhattan, 19% of our scholars who are from Queens, 21% of our scholars are from Brooklyn, and just a little bit less than 1% of our scholars are from Staten Island. And of those 1,200 scholars, they are represented through 224 high schools all across New York City. And of those scholars, we ensure that Denapoli mentioned earlier on motivation and commitment. And those are the kind of scholars that we have represented in the 1,200 number, represented from each of those 224 high schools we have listed, and from all of these boroughs. Our scholars are very committed to their learning, committed to their success, and we love being able to support them in that. This word commitment keeps coming up, but it's very important that we get that across to our scholars, because like we said, this program is for 8 years and we're providing support. And so the scholar commitment looks like this. We have a weekday programming a Saturday programming and summer programming. So really quickly, for a weekday, scholars choose one day out of the week, whether it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday. And the time is listed here between 4:15 and 6:45. And that weekday programming, they're going over their ELA fundamentals and their math fundamentals. And then Saturday programming, there's 3 Saturdays in each month that scholars will be with SEO, and that is from 8:15 to 4 p.m. Actually, currently right now, we're finishing, this is our last week of Summer Academy of, we'll start with programming. And so our scholars are currently in programming right now, where we have our summer, and that summer takes place at Baruch College for our freshmen. And during all of these programmings, this is where our scholars are getting the academic support, the critical writing, the critical reading, the math, the grammar, and the vocabulary support needed. And so we just talked about the support for high school, but what about the support after high school for college? And so statistically, of the low-income students who attend college, nationally, 20% of those students make it across the stage. Whereas overall, the national percentage of students enrolled in college, 60% of them actually graduate. And overall, 90% of SEO scholars graduate college in 4 years. And these are staggering percentages, right? And so what SEO does to aid in boosting the national percentage of low-income college graduates is that we work to ensure that the next 4 years that they are with us throughout college, they're receiving all of the opportunities available through them. So that includes resume workshops, that includes interview prep, that includes being advocates for them on their college campus if they need assistance. And also that includes hosting professional institutes 2 times a year. So our students come back for winter and our students come back for summer. And what does that look like? Well, at these institutes, we have companies come in to ensure that our scholars are engaging with leaders of these various companies in different sectors, and that they're able to secure internships, which then allows them to explore their professional interests, which will then lead to full-time jobs after they graduate. And this is something that we're very proud of and that we're very passionate about to ensure that our students are successful. And so I'm going to pass it back to Denapoli Bryce to give you a quick SEO Scholars application timeline.
So I'm just going to go over our timeline really quickly because there is a bit of a, I want to say there is a bit of a gap from the time that our application launches to the first day of orientation, or essentially programming. So our application officially launches September 8th. So that first day of school is when our application is going to be available to students and their families to fill out and apply for the program. Now, we do have 2 deadlines. So we have a priority deadline, which is November 17th, and we have a general deadline, which is December 8th. So the priority deadline is really for students or families. They hear about the program, they hear about the commitment. They're like, nope, this is exactly what I want to do. And they apply early, right? So what that priority deadline does is that if they are pushed forward for an interview, we have 2 priority interview spots in December. And so we interview the students early, and they also get an early decision from us. So essentially it's like early decisions, right? But let's say we have a student who's on the fence. They're like, I need some time to think about it. This commitment is a lot. Let me think. They have until December 8th to really flush out the ins and outs of the program. After that, we interview our students via Zoom. And the reason why we do this is because this program, though, yes, it is an academic program, it is a program where we are really getting to know the students. We want to know what kind of student you are, what you're going to bring to our community, what our community can offer you, right? And so we really take the time to interview our students because, and that's from December to January, because we have a whole deliberation process, right? To ensure that we are really selecting the best community possible. And then orientation is March 2nd. And so admissions decisions will go out essentially before March 2nd. So I'm not sure how much time we have, but I did want to open the floor up for a few questions if anyone has any, so that we can go ahead and answer just any ponderings you all may have about the program. So any questions?
Okay, so I'm looking, I don't see anyone yet with any questions.
Okay.
But if you could, if you don't mind, can you put your contact information? Oh, we got hands up. Hold on a second.
I see you, Rachel.
Not Rachel, District 25. Go ahead, you have the floor, Rachel.
Thank you. Yes, I was wondering, is the entrance only during the freshman year, or if somebody learns about it later on in the, in their high school career, can they apply at that time?
I know the entrance is only during the freshman year, and it's because of how our curriculum is set up, where hopefully we can change that later down the line. However, we do provide a referral list, like a list of other programs in the city that's similar to SEO that may have later starting dates. So if you'd like, I could send that list over to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. Just moving on. If you are interested in having someone from our recruitment team speak at your school, or maybe a PTA meeting, or even faculty, please scan the QR code on the screen and follow the prompts, so that we could get something on the calendar as soon as possible. We've already had a couple of schools schedule us for presentations. So it's never too early to get the word out about SEO, because our goal essentially is for as many people to hear about the program, because it's free. It's at no cost for our families. It's at no cost to our students. And I think it's an opportunity that a lot more people should be hearing about. And just circling back to this slide, please take a screenshot of our information and feel free to contact either myself or Zanisha with any questions or inquiries you may have regarding the program. We are available anytime, just for any questions or even like feedback you may have to give us. So we'd really appreciate it. And with that being said, we are on social media as well. So if you want more information, or if you want updates on events taking place with SEO, just follow us on social media. We're literally everywhere. And thank you for having us. And we hope that you all will have just a magnificent day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to joining us, and thank you for that presentation. And looking forward to seeing you back again. Thank you. So at this time, we have a few minutes before, unless Senator Mayer would like to go now, our time is at 10:45, but we can have Dr. Christina Melendez, again, the Education Director from FACE, to give us some good stuff that's happening in the New York City Public Schools.
Good morning, everyone. And it's so nice to be back on here. I didn't realize how much I missed you until I see all of you here now. So I'm really glad to be back, and that you've started the summer, well, the pre-back to school days ready to go. So I'm really excited about that. I wanted to share some thoughts that we had, Jesse and I, about our FACE updates on this platform. We think it's really important to be of support to you in the best ways we can. And so we thought that we would share our FACE updates time with some just heads up of like what are some things that you should be sharing on the ground with your PAs and PTAs that they should be looking forward to or into. And I know sometimes that gets lost from our office in different ways. And so we want to be better at closing the loop with that communication. And because we have an expert in the work here with us from our team, Anthony Settle, every month, we wanted to make sure that we gave him the time to share with you some heads up. And he's got some thoughts about how he's going to do that. So if you don't mind, Shirley, can I pass the mic over to our colleague and friend and expert, Anthony Settle?
Absolutely.
Anthony, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see so many of you joining us today. So some of the things that I just thought might be very helpful in helping to build out the capacity at the ground level and utilizing your expertise in so much of this work would be, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Just kind of helping working together and building out the capacity of both our office as well as you, and our work with the family leadership coordinators and family support coordinators, and how we can best support the work of PAs and PTAs across the city. So the first thing that so the goal is to provide, through work with you as parent leaders, to support, train, and promote effective practices among leaders of all districts by leveraging the work that you're already doing. So that would be our first goal. Our second goal is that working closer with family leadership coordinators and family support coordinators to be more effective in supporting the work that you do, and thereby affecting the work that's done at the school level. And then the last would be to work closely with parent coordinators to support the work at individual schools. So it's this top-down approach that we're trying to implement and work through. So I'd like to report some good news, and that would be that currently we have 896 schools. That's more than half of all schools in the city that have reported holding an election. So we have a little bit of work to do in the fall, but I think we're on a good footing as we're approaching September. But some of the things that I think, and Shirley and Randy and members of CPAC, we can flesh this out as we go along. But some of the areas that over the years that have come up to our office as areas where greater support is needed is: 1, around the election support; 2, banking and finances; 3, record keeping and the transfer of records and how important that is; and the last would be organizational outreach and engagement at the school level. So how do we help individual PAs and PTAs through you be more effective in their outreach to their members and engaging their own members? Basically, this is something many of you have heard me say over the years. How do we help PAs and PTAs to be more relevant to their own communities, right? That's what brings people out to their meetings, is people being given information that they want to have and need to have. So those are some of the ideas that are running around my head, and I will be here monthly with you all, and we can have the exchange of conversation and ideas, and hopefully grow the collaborative work that we're always seeking to do with each other. Shirley, Randy, Council, do you have any questions for me at this point? I'll do my best to answer any that I can't. I'll get back to you.
Yes, and we will think about it too, because I don't want to take time from the senator. So we're going to go to this. Aisha, hold your question. We're going to go to Senator Mayer. Karen, is Senator ready?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Shirley.
Oh, I did see you there. Hi, good morning. How are you?
How are you?
Oh, good.
I apologize. I'm driving with my sister for a day, but I had made this commitment, so I'm continuing this commitment, and it's a pleasure to be with you. I think I haven't been with you for some time since COVID, but I'm very glad to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you.
So I'm going to formally introduce our New York State Senator, Ms. Shelley B. Mayer. She is the chair of the Committee on Education and represents the 37th Senate District. I'm going to stop sharing, and Senator Mayer, the floor is yours. Is she still here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Good. Well, thank you for having me. And for those who don't know me, I'm the chair of the Senate Committee on Education. And because I don't represent New York City, I represent from Yonkers North, I try to be deferential to my New York City friends and to Senator John Liu, chair of the Committee on New York City Education, because I never think it's right for me much as I have opinions, to sort of be driving the train for you New York City parents and New York City students. And so I defer to John Liu, Senator Liu, and I know he came before the CPAC previously, but I was asked to address a few issues, and so I'm happy to do that. Most of them occurred in the context of the state budget and are important to you. So one is the charter cap. As you know, as I think you know, we in the Senate Democratic majority strongly oppose the governor's effort to lift the charter cap. In fact, to lift it statewide. We thought it was bad for New York City students, bad for New York City schools, bad for New York City school budget, and frankly, completely without justification. At the end of the day, we reached a compromise in the budget, which I wasn't thrilled about, but it's a compromise, which is that the 14 zombie charters that had been already authorized previously could be reissued in the city of New York. No new charters. These they would be new charters, but no increase in the number of authorized charters, just that there are 14 charters available, which we will assume will go through the SUNY Charter Institute process, which we view as we're not very favorable to because they seem to approve every charter. But that is what we think will happen. So Andrea Stewart-Cousins, who's our leader, who agreed with us that lifting the charter cap was completely undeserving of attention. This was her compromise that she was able to get, that we're not increasing the number of charters that are authorized. And the other thing is that there was an effort to limit these charters in places where there's saturation. And we know there's many communities where there's oversaturation of charters, but the best we could do is that charters may not be issued in a community district with more than 55% density of charters, and that only covers Manhattan District 5, Harlem, and Morningside. So in Harlem and Morningside, it cannot issue one of these 14 charters. There has been some conversation about co-location, which we know continues to be a real problem. And we will continue to press against co-location occurring in traditional public schools. And in fact, I have several bills that would prohibit that from going forward. But for now, that's a subject of conversation. So charter schools that have been fully built out have not experienced an increase in enrollment. So that was one of our arguments. Even during COVID, the number of authorized charters with increased enrollment continued to decline. But we did the best we could. We pushed back against the governor and will continue to do so. And just because you're New York City, you should know that there are districts where the percent of charters is so high that we are trying to stop it altogether. Buffalo has 23% of their students in charters. Hempstead and Long Island, 30% of their students in color, students in charters.
I'm sorry.
That are largely districts that are largely, that's what happened in charters, and I'm happy to answer any question. The other big issue that I think is important to you is the school governance. So when we reauthorized mayoral accountability, that's what Senator Jackson prefers that we call it, as opposed to mayoral control. We required that there would be a study of school governance in New York City, and that the state education department would start that, and that they would have at least one public hearing in each borough and engage and solicit input from a broad range of stakeholders, including students and parents and teachers and staff and others. Now, it hasn't started yet, but Senator Liu and I have met with the state education department. They're about to hire a consultant to run this process. They have to do this quickly because they are required to issue a report on school governance about the findings and recommendations on or before December 1 of 2023. That's this year. So they got to hurry up. And we impressed that upon them. And Senator Liu has been pressing them, and I have been as well. We need this to determine how to go forward on these school control issues with Mayor Adams as we go forward to another year. So those are the two big chunks of issues. Just to remind people that in 2022, we made changes to the composition and protections for the PEP. We codified District 75. We provided for increased input from the CECs and citywide councils and required a parent coordinator in every school. But these issues, as we go forward, I just urge all of you to make sure that we know your legislative priorities and that Senator Liu and I both know what you want to see changed in the law to ensure that students and schools get all the support they need. So we view ourselves as your allies and your advocates, but it's important that we hear directly from you. We do hear obviously from the city and we hear from DOE, but we want to hear from you as well. So Shirley, if that's okay, I'll stop there and happy to answer any questions. I know Karen Reppy, who is my education committee director, has been listening in and is on the call as well.
So anyone has any questions? I don't see anything in the chat. Anyone has any questions so far on what Senator Mayer has spoken today, or have questions in regards to charter cap or the budget or anything to do with education before she moves on?
The one other thing I want to mention, Shirley, is, and I think other people have talked about it, you know, with your help, we won this battle to get fully funding of foundation aid. It was really with parent and organizational input of the parents that we were able to win. Governor Cuomo fought us, and ultimately we prevailed. And then we got the court to agree that if they did not agree, we'd have to go back and revisit some of the court rulings. So this is a huge victory, but we have to make sure that that money translates into going into your districts, into your schools. And we're very committed to that. And I know with Senator Liu will continue to fight to make sure the money flows down to benefit schools and students. And, you know, we work closely with DOE, but we fought for this money so that it benefits students and there's smaller class size and that every student has what they need. And we're concerned about that. So happy to answer any questions, Shirley. And Karen, did I leave anything out that you thought I should have mentioned?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Anything else?
I don't see any hands or any other questions.
Thank you from Bronx High School President Council. No, but great info. Thank you. Thank you. You know what, Shirley, I'm happy to be on anytime as you move forward in school year. Please don't hesitate. And if specific things come up, would love any data on Bronx Charter, everything. We'll get back to you. If you send Karen your contact information, we'll give you information that we get on, particularly on applications for new Bronx charters. We tried to get the Bronx included in this oversaturation calculation, and we were unable to. I worked closely with Andrea to try to persuade the governor that we needed more help on other districts other than Harlem and Morningside, but we couldn't get it. Okay, if that's it, Shirley, I will be gone and available at any time.
We have Rima has her hands up real quick.
Hi, Rima. Hi, Rima.
Hi, good morning. I'm sorry for the camera. My internet is like really terrible right now. Can you hear me?
Let's see.
Is it my internet or her internet? Am I breaking up or she's breaking up?
It's not you, Rima.
Okay, I'm like, damn. All right. So do I wait till her internet's not breaking up?
She's not speaking. Well, yeah,
she's frozen. No,
she's frozen. Yeah, wait a little bit.
Okay.
But Karen is on the platform as well, so she's taking notes.
Yes, I'm also happy to relay anything to the center. Unfortunately, the cell reception in District 37 can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll, in the interest of time, I'll just say it. I would love to kind of be part of that conversation. I am a charter parent as well. You know, but there are charter is very complex, and I absolutely support charter cap. I supported no zombie charters. It's a very complex conversation, particularly in the Bronx, and I would love to talk data, because I think that educating people and still supporting choice, but with limits and restrictions, regulations, compliance, I think is really important, particularly where I'm from. So I would love to have that conversation and the backing with the data and any initiatives that you would like to do in the Bronx. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Senator Mayer just asked me to pass along her apologies for the connection issues. You know, I'll follow up with you via email, and we can certainly set up a time and continue the conversation. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. And thank you for taking the time out, and thank the senator again for us, Karen. Thank you. And we'll definitely will have you guys back on our platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. So going back to, we're going to go right. I don't see the chancellor. He's supposed to be here in a minute. So until the chancellor comes, we'll give the floor back to Anthony. And I know, Aisha, you had a question?
Yes, I just wanted to know, I know, Anthony, you said, you know, working with FLCs and FSCs, but in District 5 and President's Councils, you haven't filled that spot yet, as far as I know. So last year I worked with Ms. Tenorio to do that work. This year, yes, he's not doing that. So like, who do I go to for support? You? Like, that's really what I need to know. Like,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Can I
let's
can I start? Can I
Yes,
start,
please.
Anthony? I'm sorry. Hi, Aisha. I think it depends on what support it is you need. And that's always, of course, like you know, it just depends, right? Like, what we're trying to do is make sure that everyone at our district offices, and of course, there's always exceptions to the fact that, like, some folks are new, some folks are not in the seat. There's a vacancy or vacancies, right, as you're describing. And so we're happy to support in those situations, but we want to make sure that we spend all of our efforts building the capacity of our district supports, who are there all the time with you and know your schools intimately and know your families more intimately. And of course, in high schools, that's tricky because there's so many and there's all these things, right? But like, when we think about our districts, we want to build as much capacity as possible there. And so we're always really supportive of them so that they can be more supportive of you, and trying to mitigate some concepts or ideas or interpret the regs better with them so that then they can get to you. But in the moments where there is no one, or there is someone new that we are supporting in training and building their capacity, Anthony is always here to provide supports. And the other part about CPAC is that you are always there for each other to provide supports, right? So there's a community here and a group chat, and there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that the executive board of CPAC sort of manages, that I don't even realize that they do. And they're always experts in the work. They've been doing it for a while and are really supportive of each other. So that's sort of the long and short of it. And the answer is, as always, it depends. But Anthony and FACE team is always here to provide supports if that's needed.
Okay.
I don't know, Anthony, if you wanted to add something.
I think it's always going to be a collaborative effort, right? And how we.
I don't know if that's a me thing.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So I think it's just, you know, it's going to be one of those things where we'll have to sit down, talk about, analyze, and figure out the best strategy to provide that support in an individual district where those things are not in place. And then we work on how do we get those things in place, and how do we create supportive workarounds so that the work that has to get done gets done, right? So I think I can't give you a blanket answer. I can't give you a one answer fits all, because it's going to be different scenarios in different situations. But what I think is the most important that you can bring back to District 5, and that the other members of the council who are here can bring back to their individual districts, is that we are going to be working at this higher level to provide the capacity building at the lower levels or at the ground level to make sure that what needs to be done is done. And so that PAs and PTAs are working at the best possible level, so that you, as a President's Council president, will have A, the resources that you need to share with your community, B, the information to help them get the job done the way you and I know it needs to be done, right? Not the way we might be doing it for a time in memoriam, but we all know that that's the wrong way, because there are so many holes in that, right? So it's a way in which we build the capacity at the district to support the structures within the district. Does that make sense to everybody? Like I think many of you know me for a long time. I love working with you, and look forward to working with you, but also making sure that the districts are supported in the manner that's most conducive for
And
success.
that was my problem, because I have one school in particular right now. They were doing things the wrong way last year, and it's like now the principal's reaching out, and they basically want it in writing. Like I'm telling her the right way, but it's okay. Now I have to go find it in writing, because I'm like, I've been used to doing it the right way for so long that I'm like, well,
That
I
it's
actually
second
know
nature to you, right?
like
So-
so, but they've been doing it the wrong way, and I didn't realize that until these issues started coming up, and they're coming to me like, well, they did this and they did, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, we don't have an FSC that it would have went to. So I'm like, okay, I'll deal with it. So I'm dealing with it, one step at a time, one point at a time. But I'm like, wait, whoa. So that's why, like right now, it's just one school. And I told them also, they have not been using their DOE email addresses. I told them I will only be emailing them through those email addresses this school year, because when I got to the one for mine that I'm now president at the high school, FDA, I realized that president never used that that email address. So there's like 800 emails there. And I'm like, wait, I read my President's Council emails every day, and yet this person read none of them. So I'm trying to make sure they're reading the emails. So it's just little things like that need support on. That's the only things for me, for D5 for right now. So that's it.
I love that. I appreciate that you are using the emails. A lot of folks don't use it, which makes it really hard to communicate, because it is an email that was created so that we can share information, and we can share it because it's not your personal email. And sometimes it gets a little messy when we're sharing your personal email, because we have to ask permission and we have to do all those things to be respectful of you and your privacy. And so those emails is really helpful to use. And I appreciate that, Aisha. I think also, if it's ever a thing in writing and it's about a reg, I think, again, Anthony has said it, I have said it, more than happy to provide you the direction as to where it is and how to justify it and where to find it. And that's what we're doing, working really hard over here to build in our FLCs and FSCs as well, that they really understand the regs. We printed out all of the regs and are sending it to friends in our district offices, so that they know where to find it and what they look like, right? So we're trying to build our professional developments around that, so that they can be looking again and leaning into Anthony Settle a lot for that, because we're going to be using the regs in the conversation so that they get familiar with it, so that they get some practice with it, so that they know where these things are. So that's something that's happening just on our side. And then another part is, how do we get our FLCs, whose capacity we've been building for the last year and a half, how do we then help them actually transfer that to our PCs? It's different, right? One thing is to learn something, and a whole other thing is to teach it to someone else. And so now we're building their ability to teach that information to their colleagues in the schools. So that's going to be our next round of support in that way. So just stay tuned and keep asking us questions and alert us to things whenever you realize that there's something missing, someone doesn't know, you need some supports. I mean, we're not disappearing. I say that all the time. We're not going anywhere. We just want you to have more people you can count on.
Thank you. Since we're waiting for the chat, before I ask Anthony this question or to talk about this particular topic, anybody else would like to ask a question with Faith about updates or issues before? Oh, see, the Chancellor's coming in right now. So we'll hold that to what I have to ask you to say at the end, after the Chancellor.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so he's logging in. I'm gonna get my screen ready.
Hi there.
Hello, Chancellor. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing? What's the good word this morning?
Good word is reading. I'm literally just coming out of, what's the name of the school? 180? 188. 180, PS 180, PSMS 188 in District 1 for their summer rising, but they wanted to highlight the special reading initiative that they've engaged this summer. That was just amazing, to hear from so many parents in tears about the progress that their child has made this summer and the level of confidence that their child has gotten because of the instruction that they received in reading was just, I mean, so overwhelming for me. Yeah, so it's been a good summer. I hope everybody else is doing well. You know, my priority for this year is really literacy and reading. And so many of our kids have never learned to properly read. And that has put them on a negative trajectory. And I'm going to ensure that we start to put all of our kids on the right track by getting sound reading instruction. And the approach that we've been using for the last 25 years has been the wrong approach. And we're shifting and changing that. So I'm very, very excited about that. I think it is the game-changing work that is necessary to get all of our kids at the earliest grades on the right track. We do that, we have a chance to be wildly successful. So that's what it is. I'm feeling good about that. Hope you all are having a good summer. And the other thing is that the summer rising has been amazing. 110,000 kids in summer rising, the largest ever. And we could easily have 150,000. In fact, the biggest complaint that we've had about summer rising has been that 40 to 50,000 more people want to get a seat in it, which is those are good problems to have when the quality of the programming is so solid that everybody wants a seat. So meeting with the mayor, talking about how we can expand it potentially for next year, even though we know we're going to have some difficult fiscal challenges awaiting us. This is such a sound program that parents have been really, really excited about this all over the city. That's been a great thing for me to witness. So yeah, so that's what I've got. I'm interested in taking any questions if anybody has anything pressing on their minds.
Council people, if anybody has any question? I don't see anything in the chat. Yes.
Good morning.
Their hands raised. Oh, Veronica, you're here. Okay, Veronica, you have your.
Good morning. Thank you so much. And I hope as the Chancellor said, everybody's enjoying this summer. There's something that crossed my mind, and other parent leaders were asking me in my district, and I know that share in other districts. In the terms of the PAs and PTA, a lot of them expressed their concern that by time it's a one-year term, by time they really get handle of what they're doing, it's time for election, and they was wondering why it's not the same 2-year term as the Title I and the SLT. So they were wondering if that was something for me to bring to the table and ask if you can look into it, maybe having the PAs and PTA a 2-year term instead of every year an election. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Melendez, any response to that? Are we restricted in any sense? Or is that something that, it sounds like a good thing. I don't like 1-year terms for anything. I think 1-year terms are always tough. You're just getting your legs under you, and the next thing you know, you're up and running again. But what are your thoughts?
CPAC, do you have I was going to defer to Anthony, who can tell us about the regs that support that.
The regs, yes. It has to be
Yes.
changed in the regs. We have brought it up
Yeah.
numerous times, numerous years, right? The ideology behind making it annual, because I think we're all on the same page. I think maybe it's time for it to be a 2-year term. When the regs is written that it's annual, it has to be annual. And that's one of the positions, actually the only position on the school leadership team that can't change yearly, because it's based on whoever is the association president, and those term is yearly. All the other terms are 2 years, because to help keep stability, it will be congruent, or it does make sense to do that. I think Anthony could tell us why it's more annual, what the history is behind that. Why is the association's elections are annual, while everything else is basically for 2 years. So Anthony, yeah, he got his camera on. He's going to talk. You're muted.
Yep.
I said, thanks so much. I'm not so sure that there is a sound rationale for maintaining a 1-year term, other than to say it was designed initially, I believe, many years ago, even before I was here, to ensure that the things did not become stagnant or stale. But I'm not so sure that rationale is sufficient to move us forward. So it would be a matter of rewriting that portion of the reg and then ensuring that there's continuity throughout the document to create parity within itself. And then, as we know, we did it 2 years ago, bringing it before the PEP and then getting it passed. It's literally that simple and that complicated.
Well, that's something that been duly noted. And Dr. Melendez, let's follow up on it, take a look, and we can talk with the leadership and see if there's a consensus of that's something they think would be a good thing. And we'll go from there.
Yeah,
thank you for raising that.
Anyone else has any questions or comments for the chancellor before I say something?
All right. Well, listen. Let me just say this to everyone again. This school year, I think, promises to be a solid school year for us. We do have some immediate concerns. We're currently negotiating with the ATU around buses, and there's some real concerns around a potential bus strike, which might in fact affect thousands of kids. And so you're going to be hearing from us in the coming days around that. Negotiations are still going on. We don't have a deal just yet, but this is something that could potentially affect anywhere from 85 to 150,000 students at the very beginning of the school year. So I don't want to jump the gun yet, just to know that we're negotiating every day with the union, trying to get a deal done. Certainly hopeful, but there is a possibility that we might have an action with buses at the beginning of the school year, which would not be a good thing. but I wanted to just begin to alert you all. You all should know you're the first ones I'm even sharing this with. The real potential for a bus strike. Again, working hard, hoping to avoid that, but it is a possibility, and if it is, we will have clear direction for all of our parents across the system. What they can do to be prepared for that. If we in fact had it, it would affect our youngest students and our students with special needs. So not a good situation, but certainly hopeful that we can avoid it, but just wanted to start to plant a seed to let people know about the possibility. And you'll hear more in the coming days.
Thank you, Chancellor. You read Rima's mind. She was going to bring that up. So thank you so much about the busing issues, especially she says for D75, right? It's been really tough for District 75 students with the busing situation. So I'm going to go back to the summarizing. Right? Are you able to say, why can't we offer summarizing to everyone who wants it? Is it a logistic? Is it space? Do you see in the future a possibility of all students who wish to participate in summarizing can?
Yeah, it's all of that. It's space, it's logistics. We have to use school buildings, right? So first of all, when you do that, can we go in a second? When we do that, it slows down our ability to get that school ready for the opening of the school year. These summer rising programs, many of them run all the way through August 18th. That only leaves the custodial staff like 2 weeks to totally flip that building and get it fully ready and operational and clean for day one of the school year. There's a lot of work that goes in over the summer on facilities preparation. So that's always an issue. We don't want to open up every single school during the summer. So that's one. Two, it comes with a real expense. It's not cheap to run summer programs. All teachers do not volunteer to do it because we can't mandate teachers for the summer programs. So you have to pay teachers who are willing to work for the summer. If all the teachers across the city said they didn't want to work, we wouldn't be able to have a summer rising program because it's not built into the contract that they have to work for the summer. And the summer is when the teachers have off. So we pay teachers additional salaries to work in the summer. And that's a pretty significant cost for us to do that. And summer rising, when you add what makes summer rising special is not just what we do with our teachers during the day, but then there's the second part of the day, which is the partnership with DYCD. That's where a lot of the fun stuff comes in with the various trips and all of the community partners that come into play. And it is great. The kids love it. Teachers love it. Everybody loves it. Every one of these schools I visit, I was in the Bronx yesterday, and people love the summer rising program. They love it. And it's just great to see the kids, the teachers, the partners, everybody. But it comes with a significant price tag, millions and millions of dollars. And so you got to find that money somewhere. And if you couple that with what the mayor has been saying, New York City is getting ready to face some very significant financial challenges. So I don't think sometimes it's hard for people to wrap their minds around the potential challenges of what's coming. We've been able to do a number of things in our public schools over the last several years because we had hundreds of millions of dollars of stimulus funds. Those funds are basically done. And so now, if we want to keep doing those things, we've got to figure out where those dollars come from. The summer rising has primarily been funded by the stimulus funds. Now the stimulus funds are gone. And yet we know it's a great program and we love it. So now we got to find that money from someplace else. Not easy. So that's one. And then, we just have other challenges. The migrants it's a challenge. It's a financial challenge. These are folks who've left their countries, have come here seeking the American dream. They've not been given opportunities to work lawfully because of the national immigration laws. So there's no work authorization for them to be able to work. We in New York City have laws that say we have to provide housing and support and shelter for these folks. And there's a lot of them, and they're still coming, thousands and thousands. And the mayor did a big speech yesterday. Is anticipating over 3 years is going to cost the city $12 billion. And we're not getting any of those dollars from the national government or from the state. It's New York has been left on its own to handle it. So while we have a big open mind, excuse me, guys, while we have a big open heart, there's limits to what we can afford to do. There's limits to what we can afford to do. And that's what the mayor's speech was about yesterday, is that we need help. We need real help. And if we don't get the help and we are still forced to pick up the tab, $12 billion comes from somewhere. And so if we want to expand Summer Rising, you got to find the money. And if you don't have it because you got to use these dollars for other purposes, there's tough choices that the city has. So we're going to do the best that we can. Certainly in our schools, we're going to do the best that we can. I salute all of our teachers and our administrators who've been working so hard. We had a great year last year. I think we're going to have an even better year this year as we're leaning in on reading and NYC Reads and our career pathways work. I really think the best is yet to come, in spite of the tough economic challenges that we are facing. So just want to thank everybody. I've got to jump. I'm really hoping that you all are having a good summer. I think it's been a good summer in the city. You know that crime has dropped for 18 months in a row, including this summer. You always have a spike in crime during the summer, but not this year. That's a great thing. And I attribute a lot of that to Summer Rising, to the summer youth employment programs. Anytime you can keep kids off the streets and keep them busy doing other things, that's always a good thing, and that helps. So it's been a good summer. Fingers crossed that we can have the rest of the summer will be great. And I'm just hoping that you all find some time to get some rest yourselves and a little sun and sand if you can, as we get ready to kick off in September, our next school year. And I'm excited for it.
Thank you, Chancellor. Before you, I know you got to go, but regarding Summer Rising, I have to applaud. You know, I always complaining high school, Summer Rising, the PSAL we have this summer youth employment that doesn't satisfy every high schooler. But the PSL was really good to give them something. But, you know, there's always those who are not athletic. So I'm going forward, we could start off with just a few, even if it's just a bar ride, some enrichment activities outside of athletes and employment. That would be great. But we could discuss more at another time.
Love it. Love it. Dr. Melinda, we're taking note of all of these suggestions, right? All right. So let's double back and we can sit and walk through them. Great.
Always.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for coming. Veronica, you had your hands up. His team is still here. So
thank you. Thank you, Shirley, for allowing me. So one of the concerns that I've been hearing in different schools, the paras who were working was not getting paid. And a lot of them walked off the job and did not return because they weren't getting paid over the summer. Being there in the morning, helping out or whatever, and they're not getting paid. So I wanted to ask, how come that they show up for work and not getting paid?
Veronica, thank you for the question. I'm just writing it down because I definitely don't know the response to that, but we'll follow up on that and send it over to to the executive board to share with you, but we'll look into that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And also, I know y'all taking notes. So Rima, I know y'all seeing the chat, but I just be noted that also to make sure that the D35 high schools, the summer rising is extended to them as well, right? And that's very important.
Yep, got that. Thank you.
Anyone has anything pertaining before we go back to Anthony to face subject? Anything? Anybody else have anything else to bring up before the chancellor? Questions specifically regarding anything else before we go back to giving updates? Okay, so there is from YouTube. Someone asking, can you address the para issues?
I think it says that the UFT addressed the para issues on Twitter.
Yeah, but I think someone is asking that, I guess, in response to what they saw.
Oh, yeah.
Do anybody have, anyone has any thoughts on that? Could you get back to us on that? If about the para issue? This is the first I'm hearing about it myself, so. Thank you, Charlene.
Actually, it just says on, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't raise my hand. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Charlene. Thank you.
I'm sorry. The UFT posted, DOE took immediate action to issue paychecks to paras and sub-paras who did not receive their scheduled July pay for summer rising. Many of our members began receiving their payments on Thursday, August 4th.
Oh, so they were addressing that issue. Thank you.
Yes, that was posted on Monday.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Rima, you have your hands up.
Yeah, I also had a number of parents that are telling me that they're not getting their SLT checks. And that like they're on multiple SLTs, and like that one school within 2 weeks of whatever in June, they got their slips. And I'm gonna be very transparent that these are vocal parents that are having issues in the schools that they are not getting their SLT checks from, but in the other schools, they are getting them right away. So it just seems a little strange because any issue affecting one school should be affecting all schools, unless there's something within that school structurally that's not happening properly that is resulting in parents not receiving their remuneration on time, which is really unfair because one, some parents honestly rely on that, right? They think they're going to get this extra bump in June, and that's supportive. Two, this is an incentive for parents to be engaged. We can't then, meet us at the table, we're going to do this for you. And then like, oh yeah, keep coming. And like never actually getting there because you keep taking steps back while we take steps forward. And this is just me expressing the frustration of the parents because it's not one or two or three, and it's not like one or two or three schools. And honestly, like it's in multiple districts. So it just concerning, and just want to make sure there's no like DOE financial issues that are affecting this, and that we can support the FLCs that support these schools to ensure that this gets rectified because they are on the emails as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I don't see any more hands. I see a new message. Give me a sec. Okay, so this is a good question. And then we're gonna give Anthony back the floor. What is the contingency plan for busing should a strike be called? If there isn't one, when will it be made? When one would be made and shared?
Yeah, I saw that one. And have written it down.
Awesome, thank you. So by the next CPAC meeting, we should have some of these responses back. So Anthony, what I would like you to talk about, are you ready to come back on to speak? You don't have to show your face, but you're ready to speak? Yep. So I would like you to.
I was just jotting notes, taking notes. You
Not
know,
a
I do
problem.
that.
So I would like you to discuss President's Council's elections, please, what the reg says, and what is the intent behind, or
Sure.
what is, go ahead. You know where I'm getting at too.
I do.
You have the
So,
floor.
thank you. So, there seems to be a disconnect in two sections of the regulation. The first is the term of office, which is July 1 to June 30th, and then the other is the extension time to hold a President's Council election, which would be September 30th, as it's mentioned in the reg. So, let's talk first the term of office. So we have to, when we look at the term of office, if the office ends on the 30th of June, so just like for a PA or PTA, that PA or PTA President's Council is without officers if those elections do not happen before the 30th of June. And so, yes, there is a provision in the regulation that allows for an election to be done in the fall, but as many of you have heard me say over the years, right? You hold your election in the spring, you have control of your election. You hold your election in the fall, someone else is dictating to you when and where it's going to happen. So you don't have control because that association at that point or that council doesn't have officers that are going to be the directors of those movements. So that's why it is so important. So at this time, as we're moving into this new school year, any PA or PTA, any President's Council that did not hold its election, and there could be a variety of reasons why an election's not held. It could be because quorum could not be met. And we know you have to have quorum in order to make decisions. So you didn't make quorum. I think the worst of these kinds of reasonings is that because we always do it at this time. But when you always do it at that time, you are setting yourself back in the amount of time that you can create success. And so holding the election in the spring gives you the opportunity as a PA or PTA, as a President's Council, to ensure that all of the things that you are hoping to do come the next year, you can get done and you can get those plans up and rolling. So what does that mean? You can have the transfer of records. Why is that so important? Because it creates continuity. It creates continuity in the way your organization is run. Every time you don't have that transfer of records, that new team that comes on board, whether they are elected in the spring or elected in the fall, they are scrambling to get all of those things in place. And if that was you that prior year, just think of how much of a headache that was for you. Getting the bank account transferred, getting the records and the minutes so that you know what the decisions that were being made were made. You know how difficult that is. You want to support the parents of your school. You want to support the parents of your districts. You need to have this level of continuity that creates an ability for the organization to run seamlessly. So having that transfer of records, making sure the bank accounts are transferred properly, making sure you have a budget, whether you're a PA or PTA, or even if you're a President's Council that works on a budget, making sure that you have that budget proposed and you have something to start your school with. And more importantly, you start to create your own plan for being effective leaders in your schools and in your districts, right? Because you can take the time in July and August to do some planning. And then when September comes, you're not behind the 8 ball trying to get an election done. So as we're moving into this next year, and we have at this point, more than half, small margin, but more than half of our schools who have effectively held an election last spring. So we will now have to mobilize and try to get that done. It's going to be really, really helpful. And this is the key element that I want to press upon you all now and share with those who are in our YouTube space. If you did not hold your election in the spring, all that you need to hold the election by September 30th is quorum. If you can establish quorum, whatever it is in your bylaws that say quorum is, you can establish quorum, you can hold your election. You don't have to wait till you get X number of schools If you have the X number of schools, that X is quorum. So I'm going to make a suggestion over the next 2 to 3 weeks for the remainder of August. Pull up your bylaws for your president's council. Find out what quorum is for your council. And if you have that number of schools working with your FLC and your superintendent, if you have that number of schools that have held their election in the district, then by all means, call for or have the superintendent, because we have to follow the regulation, right? And so the regulation says the superintendent is going to set the date. Have that superintendent set the date and the time for the election of President's Council. And then once President's Council is up and running, you can then support that FLC and helping to ensure that the other schools in your districts that did not hold the election can get those elections done with your support. And so that's really, really important, with your support. And this is part of the way I think we build out capacity, right? With your support, those schools can hold those elections. If those schools are holding those elections and you are there supporting them, I guarantee you more of them will come to your meetings, right? Because they will see the level of support that you are to them. So that's where I think we can start this process of building out capacity. This is how we look at the reg. And please, if you've not picked up the regulation in a while, please pick it up. Put it in a binder. If you get one from if you get a bound copy from your FLC, get a highlighter, get Post-it notes, make it colorful, highlight those elements in that regulation that pertain to your President's Council, and highlight those elements that pertain to your PAs and PTAs. Start going over that document with your schools, because that is your Bible. That is the document that tells you what you can and what you cannot do. I always say there is great freedom in the reg, because then you're not guessing. And you're going to do it the right way. And if there are questions, we will have plenty of forums for which those questions can get answered, right? You can go to your parent coordinator. You'll be able to go to your FLC and your FSC, and you'll be able to come here to CPAC, and I will be here with you. So you will have that level of support that I think that we are all striving to give and to receive. So I learn from you as much as I hope you're going to learn from me, because I never think that I know everything, and I always look for thought partners. But in terms of who is eligible right now for CPAC, we have to look at the reg. And looking at CPAC's bylaws, they tell us you have to have a certain number of eligible members to participate. That eligibility is granted by your elections in the spring. If you don't hold them in the spring, that eligibility gets delayed till sometime in the fall. It would really be a disservice to your own communities if we are in January and we are still trying to hold a President's Council election for your district. That does a disservice to you. That does a disservice to the parents in your community. And I don't want you to be in that position to be of disservice. What we are looking for and what we're striving for is for all of us to be of service to each other. And so please pull out your bylaws, review them with your FLC and your superintendent, set the date, have the superintendent send that date out, and hold those elections as soon as we possibly can. The regulation does require that it happen by September 30th for President's Council, October 30th for PAs and PTAs. Here's the other element and reason why this is so urgent. CPAC will want to hold its elections. So the sooner CPAC can hold its elections, CPAC can support you and your districts. The sooner you hold your elections, the PAs and PTAs can get the support that you're going to provide them in your district. So it is this trickle-down effect that we are trying to stop, that flow of bad water, right? So we don't want that to happen. We want CPAC to be able to hold its elections. We want you to be able to hold your elections, and we want your PAs and PTAs to hold their elections. And then through the year, we can figure out a strategy to put into place where we're going to have more schools, more President's Councils holding their elections in the spring than they do in the fall. How is that, Shirley?
Thank you. Perfect. Because sometimes you need someone else to explain why, and as CPAC, we want to live by example, right? We can't be telling our schools, our membership, you got to have your elections, and we're not doing it ourselves, right? So we want to lead by example. People pay attention more to examples or actions, practices, than actually what is written down. And so that is the reason why. So CPAC cannot do its business because we actually have enough to have quorum, but everybody is not present. We just barely have enough certifications to meet quorum at this time. We know that people have done elections, they're just not handing it in for whatever reason, right? So we do have more than quorum, but we're not receiving the certification for. And I say we, I'm talking about Anthony. Anthony is our face liaison. Anthony tells us who certification came in and who our membership is, right? So all certifications, if they're not in, it's to Anthony, and then Anthony will come to us and let us know. So people had questions, and this is why. So we're starting from scratch. We want to lead by example. So we are only have those people in who has their certification, with the exception of the board. The board's term don't end until October 31st. So they are left in regardless of certification or not. It's just that if they did not have elections, they are not representing their district or borough, but they're here as elected board members. So to clarify, I wanted everybody to hear this at the same time publicly, and why it is going forward, because FACE and us, we want to do everything accordingly to the regs, because if we don't do that, then the schools won't do that, right? We want from down to trickle upwards. So if our schools have their elections and they're doing good, president's councils are supporting them, president council, that's what strengthens CPAC, right? We need our PAPTAs to be on board, then president's councils will be on board, right? Then CPAC will be on board, meaning the strength of parent voices, doing the right thing about our families, and the ultimate goal is our scholars, because we cannot do that without all of us together, right? So that is why we're starting off like that. So we're having August meetings so we can start off on a good foot into September. That's why we're like pressing that issue. Have your elections in June. Our terms actually starts July 1st. It's July 1st to June 30th. You cannot start your term if you have not done your elections. And that's another reason why it's important, because there are work to be done in the summertime, right? We're not doing as aggressively during the school year, but there is work to be done. Especially sometimes school leadership teams have things to do. Definitely the DLT they have deadlines for their DCEP, happens during the summer. And if our president's councils are not having their elections, then they are not, members on the district leadership team like they're supposed to, and which is very important, which goes back to which supports the schools, then ultimately our scholars. And that's why I had Anthony talk again. Why is the importance to, go ahead, Anthony.
I just wanted I put my email in the chat. If for those who don't have access to the chat, it's ASETTLE, there are no numbers, ASETTLE. Please forward to me your certifications once you have them, and this way then I can get them to both Randy and Shirley, and we'll see you, at the September meeting, sitting pretty.
Thank you so much. I gotta go back to the screen, share to see what else is left. But anybody else, any questions for FACE? They have the floor. Jesse, you've been very quiet. You want to say hello?
Hi, Shirley. Hello, members. Always a pleasure to be on the meeting. And just wanted to take a quick moment to just mention upcoming summer streets that we at FACE are involved in. We have undergone a partnership with our colleagues at the Department of Transportation and have conducted summer streets or been involved with summer streets in all 5 boroughs. We initially started in July in Staten Island and in Queens, and we have 2 dates coming up. And we'll share this, members, with everyone afterwards. We'll share an email with all of the information. But we have upcoming Summer Streets events in Brooklyn and the Bronx coming up on Brooklyn, I believe, is August 19th, and the Bronx is August 26th. So we'll send all the information. What we've done with Summer Streets is the Chancellor, as Dr. Melendez has talked about, NYC Reads and the focus on literacy. At the events, we have partnered with a theater company called Teatro Sea, to do performances at Summer Streets, as well as to be able to hand out books of the performance, to participants, to parents, and to students who attend the Summer Streets program. So, or the Summer Streets events, I should say more accurately. So I will put this information. I see that Christina is putting the information in the chat, and we'll share more information as well, as far as the locations and the times. But just wanted to share that with all of the council members that these upcoming events happening started in July, continuing in August, and once again, our continued commitment to the focus on NYC Reads and literacy, and also just having a nice fun event in addition for families throughout our summer months. So just wanted to share that, and thank you, Shirley, and thank you, members, always for the opportunity to be at the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Members, Dr. Melendez, anything else you want to add before we bring this to an adjournment?
I just want you to come out and see us. I am going to send the flyer. It's got some of the, obviously it's a bunch of streets that are closed by DOT for the season or for the moment, for the day, I mean, and we're everywhere, and we want to make sure that we say hello to you all. So if you have a chance to come with your families, it's been really fun. I was in Staten Island on the 29th, and some of my colleagues were at Queens. I am going to be, Jesse and I will be there, so will other members of the team. I will make it to the Bronx for sure, and we'll then run over to Brooklyn. So I will be in both places on the 26th, and I will definitely be in Harlem on the 19th. Please, 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 if you have time, if you're in the neighborhood, if you have a moment, it's from 7 to 1 p.m. We have a bunch of stuff to give away and share, but most importantly, we would love to just see your faces. So come visit us if we're in your neighborhood. I pass it back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Randy, would you like to say something before I share the screen and so we could come? You've been quiet.
I just wanted to share, I wanted to also, I hope everyone is enjoying their summer and getting ready to start back a nice positive school year. But I did want to share for President's Council, we're going to be sending out an email with a fundraiser from the Barclay Center. So they have a fundraising program that PTAs can use for tickets for events that they have. And we just want to make sure that that's shared out to all your PTAs in your districts. And it's a great fundraising opportunity that does not require as much work. You do have to make sure that you approve it in your budget, your working budget for the school year, but it's a great opportunity. So we'll be sharing that.
Thank you, Randy. Any other thoughts or comments before I'm going to share my screen? All right. Our next meeting is Thursday, September 4th. And I hope everyone's summer and continue to be as lovely as this picture. Relax. We're busy bees, but still take this time to make sure you rejuvenate. So those, happy summer. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us, because we know it's the summertime, but the work we do is important, and we want to start off this new year great, right? On the right foot. So at this time, I will ask someone to bring our meeting to an adjournment.
I motion that we adjourn the meeting.
A second.
Okay, so thank you, District 3. Thank you, Bronx High School. So the time now is 11:53. We'll give you back 7 minutes. Thank you so much. Have a good day, have a good week, and we'll see you soon.
Take care, everyone. Bye.